Hi everybody, it's Jeff and Nikki from Nightshade Nook Decor. So we are getting ready to seal coat this, we started calling it the peacock table. It is a black walnut table. I can't believe I'm at the wrong end of you pouring again.
Story of your life.
This is a live edge black walnut table. What he's doing now is pouring the Wisebond tabletop epoxy to seal coat it. This is the table that we use the 3 different My Spring colors in it. It has the mermaid dust in it, the My Spring shiny malachite, and the My Spring charcoal black. So we'll finally get to see what this table is going to look like when it's done. I know some of the swirls that we had posted earlier, like when we first poured it, obviously have dissipated and changed because that's the life of epoxy. So I'm excited and can't wait to see exactly how this turned out. We can kind of see now since he, poured it in the center. But it's really kind of hazy. It's got a lot of air bubbles in it. So what he's doing is just going around the edges with the epoxy to kind of help seal the wood and make sure he has an even coat of the epoxy on it. Is there anything you want to talk about with your technique?
No, not right now. Basically, we're just, like Nikki just said, we're going to go around the edges and make sure there's coverage and everything gets wet. Obviously, once I spread this epoxy out, it'll drip over the sides. So this will just kind of help make sure that everything gets covered, even if there's a spot where it doesn't quite drip.
I was going to say, I pulled my boot back right before you said that too, because I was like, oh, it's going to drip all over my shoe.
Oh yeah, that's the problem with this this portion is very messy.
Absolutely the messiest portion of doing these tables. Well, I don't know. When you plane the big tables on with the sled, with the router planer.
Oh yeah, that's quite messy too.
That's horrid. That's just when there's
garbage bags of chips.
Yeah, and they're just flying everywhere. That is the reason why the shop is always covered in dust and stuff. That and all the sanding. You were in here all day yesterday sanding. And the day before.
It's the story of my life.
Been a sanding fiend. So this is not the final coat. Like we said, this is a seal coat, so it's the first coat that he puts on the tables. Once this sets up and hardens, probably tomorrow or the day after, he'll do the flood coat, which should be the final coat on it.
Hopefully. Not always the case, but in most cases it is.
And then he will sand off the excess epoxy on the bottom and put the legs on it and done.
After it cures. It takes a while to cure. We'll have to flip it over and cure it for a couple of weeks before, or we'll have to cure it like it is for a couple of weeks before we can
even flip it over to sand it.
Before we can flip it over, yeah, and put the legs on it.
So this is one of the reasons why we emphasize the custom orders, because it is a process to make these tables. A table, you're looking at a good month from the time you order till the time it's completed.
And it's really just because it takes the epoxy a long time to cure. Because after we've gone to all the trouble to make your table, we certainly wouldn't want to flip it over before it was ready and then mess it up and have to coat it again,
Yeah, that would be sad.
Yeah, and it's just a waste of epoxy too.
I like the little grooves that the the trowel is leaving in there. It's kind of cool. So this is self-leveling epoxy. He uses the trowel on it just to kind of make sure he's got an even coat on it. And then once he's done doing the trowel process and he's satisfied with that, he'll go through and remove the surface tension from it. That's really pretty though. I like that. That table turned out really well.
It's a nice color.
It is a nice color. It's got a lot of nice depth in it, which I'm trying not to get too close because I know I'll get epoxied.
Oh yeah.
And epoxy, nothing takes epoxy out. Vinegar will eventually take epoxy out, but I like my boots. And I don't think they'll like vinegar. I was just going to say, where's your torches at the other end? It almost looks like you have a lot of excess epoxy.
I think so too. I use the Wisebond epoxy calculator here to calculate how much I would need, and I think they misled me. Could have got, because it's a seal coat, we probably could have got away with a little bit less epoxy.
I was going to say, does their calculator show the difference between like pores, seal coats, and floods?
Does not.
Oh, so they may have given you the stuff for like a pour.
Yeah, well, for us, maybe for a flood coat. But either way, we'll get nice coverage. We'll have a nice thick seal coat.
And our floor will be nice and epoxied.
Yes.
That's what kills me when we see the videos of people or when we talk to people who are like, oh yeah, I'm making this in my kitchen. Are you out of your mind?
You're right.
Like, your family must hate you.
So many people that post stuff how they're making a table in their kitchen, and all I can think of is, oh my gosh.
It's never coming off your floor.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that is a very, very pretty table.
Okay.
It's got a lot of dimension to it with the way the mica powder's swirled up together.
Yeah.
I think this is very cool. I can't wait till you torch it. And the windows and the lights are already reflecting in it, so I'm getting a little bit of glare off of them because the epoxy is so shiny. So once he goes over it, well, now he's going over to remove the surface tension, which that kind of helps level out the epoxy and prevents dimples and pockets.
Yes, this will. We say this all the time, but epoxy has a very high surface tension. So doing this will break that surface tension and allow this epoxy to lay flat. I know it looks like it defeats the purpose, but it really doesn't.
Frank says it looks great, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Frank.
Yeah, I like the way this table turned out. And I like the way the epoxy makes that black walnut just pop against that green.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a little sea of plants. You know, like in the pond when you have like the water lilies leaves floating at the top. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So then after he removes the gloves, he's just going to go over it with the torch. That way remove some of the air bubbles, clear up the epoxy so we can get a better view of what the river looks like. Because currently it looks a little hazy. So you can see the torch just pops those air bubbles as it goes over it.
It's going to take a few minutes. There's a lot of air.
Yeah, I see that. I don't know, I might want to call this the pond table. It reminds me of a pond, like a summer pond. Although I don't think that's a selling name.
Pond table?
Yeah, I'll have to get a little more creative with that. Oh yeah, there you go. I love how it just shines up like that. So this is what our table is going to look like. I think it turned out great. Are you happy with it?
I am. It's a really pretty table.
I like the color combination. I think we did a great job with that. And there's some of those peacock swirls still in there. Most of them are like down here. These look really, really cool.
I just need to get that leading edge there.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It does. And now I can see everything that's on the wall, the clock,
Yeah.
the barometer, all that. All that's showing up.
I'm just casting a shadow on it.
Yeah.
So are you.
I know. But it's so pretty. I just like the depth that the epoxy has made. Like you can see, like in here, the black spots that just kind of sink down.
Right. No, it's pretty.
It's very pretty. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and share our videos. That's what's been helping us grow. And I think we have a few more videos we're going to do later on today because we have a lot of custom coaster orders that we need to fulfill. So we'll talk to you later. You guys have a great day.